The fiery nebula roared like a wounded beast across the void, its crimson and gold tendrils licking the edges of a shattered human outpost orbiting a dying star, debris spiraling in slow, mournful arcs as if the cosmos itself wept for the worlds already lost, while Dravex warships loomed like skeletal reapers, their spiked hulls adorned with glowing runes that pulsed with the cold promise of annihilation. A hymn of purity carved into the black with plasma fire that had glassed half of humanity's fragile holdings into ash-strewn graves. In the heart of this inferno, Aria Voss gripped the controls of her customized Starfire shuttle with the ferocity of a cornered predator, weaving through the wreckage with a defiance that turned the craft into a comet streaking through the jaws of death. Plasma lances scorching its hull in streaks of molten orange that hissed against the reinforced glass, her flowing dark hair a wild banner whipping in the recycled gusts of the cockpit. Fierce green eyes narrowed with unyielding resolve beneath. A space Lara Croft-inspired outfit. A low-cut tank top clinging to her athletic curves with sweat-slicked tenacity, tight shorts accentuating her toned legs braced against the shuddering deck, and rugged boots planted firm amid the chaos. Neon tech holsters strapped to her thighs glowing softly with gadgets poised to turn desperation into deliverance. At 23, she was the beacon keeper whose legend had been forged in the fires of exile, her reckless hack of a Concorde relay exposing corruption and earning her banishment, only to transform a derelict outpost into a signal that had rallied forgotten fleets 6 months prior at Haven 3, now the last ember of hope as Dravex closed their iron grip. They've glassed half our worlds. Humanity's last stand begins now, or we're ash, she snarled into the crackling comm, her voice a blade cutting through the static, fingers dancing across the console with surgical precision as she rerouted auxiliary power to a hidden relay buried in the shuttle's core, the golden pulse of its activation a defiant flare against the encroaching dark. Alarms wailed like the screams of the fallen, sensors painting a grim tapestry of enemy signatures multiplying like a plague, their spiked silhouettes cutting through the nebula's wound like vultures circling a carcass, and a rogue pilot's static plea pierced the chaos, his voice trembling with the weight of a man who'd seen too many sons die. Voss, they're jamming the relays, signals our only shot, but it's suicide. The Purge fleets are locking coordinates, and Krozak's flagship is inbound. Prayers won't save us this time. Aria's lips curled in a defiant smirk, her green eyes flashing with the fire of someone who had stared into the void and spat back, throttling the engines to bank hard around a tumbling bulkhead, the G-forces slamming her into the seat, neon holsters pressing against her skin like eager allies awaiting their call. Then we don't pray, we ignite, she muttered, the words a mantra born of exile's crucible, her fingers tracing the relay's activation sequence as the shuttle groaned under the strain, a golden light beginning to pulse through the hull like a heartbeat refusing to fade. Her comm crackled anew, a holographic feed shimmering into existence beside her, Clara's form materializing in a flicker of iridescent light. The mid-20s Solari female hacker, her scaled blue-green skin etched with glowing bioluminescent tattoos that danced like digital veins across her sharp angular features, piercing violet eyes flickering with streams of intercepted data, clad in form-fitting rogue tech attire of a sleeveless vest embedded with holographic projectors, cargo pants lined with gadget pouches and lightweight boots with anti-grav soles that seemed to hover even in projection, her long tendril-like hair extensions pulsing in rhythm with the code she wove. Clara's lilting voice cut through the static, pragmatic intensity sharpening every syllable as her tattoos flared with the grudge of a homeworld reduced to ash by Dravex fire. Aria, Dravex Purge fleets are closing like a noose. Your signals are flare in a powder keg, and their jammers are shredding our net. I've got a slice into their warp grid, but Krozak's shadow looms. Your move, human, or we're all cinders. Aria's smirk deepened, her hand steadying on the console as she patched a response, the shuttle shuddering under a near-miss lance that lit the viewport in a blaze of red. My move's simple, Clara. Blow their gods to hell with a signal they can't ignore. Patch me through to the enclaves, and let's see if humanity's got one fight left in its bones. The nebula's wound pulsed brighter as the relay hummed to life, its golden light cutting through the Dravex jamming like a blade through silk, and from the shadows of the outpost's hangar emerged Jackson, a grizzled smuggler in his 40s with a beard flecked with crystal dust like stars trapped in frost, arms crossed over a scarred chest that spoke of too many close calls, his pistol holstered but his hand never far from its grip, eyes narrowing under heavy brows as he barked orders to a ragtag crew scrambling to reinforce the hull, his voice gruff as gravel under boot, carrying the weight of a man who'd bartered lives for scraps but never sold his soul. Voss, your damn signal's lighting us up like a beacon. Dravex scouts are swarming the perimeter, and my turret's half-jammed. You better pull a miracle, or we're feeding their purity fires. Beside him, Mara, a young Enclave tech no older than 19 with wide, resolute brown eyes framed by a messy tangle of ash-blonde hair, her slender frame draped in a patched jumpsuit stained with engine grease. Fingers flying over a jury-rigged comms panel. Looked up with a mix of awe and terror, her voice trembling but threaded with the steel of survival. The relay's live, Aria, patching through now, but the jamming's spiking. If we boost it, they'll know exactly where we are. My family's gone because of their prayers, and I won't let this be their grave too. Aria nodded, her rugged boots crunching debris as she moved to the hangar's edge, welder igniting in a blue arc that melted a breached panel to seal the gap. Neon holsters deploying a chaff grenade that fried an incoming drone in a shower of sparks. Her gaze sweeping the crew with the unyielding spark that had rallied fleets from the brink. Then we make them regret finding us. Jackson, hold that turret line. Mara, max the relay's gain. Clyra, scramble their scans. Humanity's last stand isn't a surrender. It's a firestorm, and we're the flint. The hangar trembled as Dravex scouts breached the outer defenses, their spiked forms cutting through the outpost's fragile shields like knives through flesh. Plasma fire blooming in malignant bursts that lit the void with the promise of extinction. Priests' chants echoing over intercepted comms. A rhythmic prayer to their gods of cleansing flame that carried the arrogance of an empire blind to the embers stirring beneath its feet. Irony coiled thick in the air. The Dravex had dismissed humanity as a faded stain, their skeletal trophies a testament to victories over lesser foes. Yet here, in the shadow of their purge, a signal pulsed with the stubborn heartbeat of a species refusing to fade, its golden light a challenge hurled into the face of their divine mandate. Aria sprinted to the relay core, her hands steady as she overrode safety protocols, the console sparking in protest, metaphors vivid in her mind. The nebula a wound bleeding hope, the outpost a crucible forging its last defiance, the signal a spark waiting to consume the dark. Mara's fingers danced alongside hers, her patched jumpsuit whispering against the panel as she boosted the gain, wide eyes reflecting the golden pulse, while Jackson manned the turret, his gruff shots forcing a scout to veer off in a spray of molten chitin, his skepticism cracking under the weight of the moment. If this works, Voss, you're crazier than I thought, but damn if it ain't working. Keep that signal screaming. Clyra's hologram sharpened, her violet eyes narrowing as data streams clashed with the jamming, her voice a lilting blade. Signals cutting through, enclaves are pinging back, rogues too, but Krozak's flagship is warping in. Their priests are chanting your name like a curse. Aria, move fast, or we're ash before the fire spreads. The relay's hum spiked, a golden wave slicing the void, pings flickering like distant stars aligning. Enclave runners, trader halls, forgotten dreadnoughts stirring from nebula graves. But the sensors shrieked a warning that cut through the hope like a lance. The Dravex flagship materializing in a ripple of distorted space, its spiked silhouette eclipsing the dying star. Warp drives thrumming with the promise of orbital fire that could glass the outpost to slag in moments. Aria patched a frantic burst to the net, her voice steady despite the ache in her chest. Hold the line. Fleet's coming. I feel it in the pulse. We've got one shot to turn this ember into a firestorm. The hull buckled under the first barrage, plasma fire consuming the bridge in a roar of destruction. Bulkheads collapsing like the final notes of a dirge. Jackson's turret blasting futilely as scouts poured through the breach. Mara clutching the relay with white-knuckled resolve, and Aria's shout echoed into the void. Hold the line. As the outpost's lights flickered out, the signal's fate hanging by a thread, the nebula's wound swallowing the scene in a cliffhanger of fire and shadow. The outpost's bridge erupted in an inferno of sparks and molten steel, the hull buckling under the relentless barrage of Dravex plasma fire, as if the void itself sought to erase the last vestige of human defiance. Debris raining in jagged arcs that clattered against the shattered consoles, while the skeletal forms of Dravex elites swarmed through the breach, their carapaced bodies gleaming with ritual runes that pulsed in time with their hissing chants of purity, mandibles clicking like the jaws of a triumphant predator. Aria rolled behind a smoldering control panel, her rugged boots scraping the debris-strewn floor, welder igniting in her grip with a blue arc that hummed like a predator's growl, the neon tech holsters on her thighs flaring as she squeezed the trigger, the plasma beam lancing out to melt a clawed limb in a cascade of molten chitin, her flowing dark hair catching stray embers that singed the ends as she ducked a retaliatory lance. Screech. Collapse. Next. The elite crumpled in a twitching heap, but the horde pressed, their red eyes glinting with fanatic zeal. Plasma igniting in a symphony of searing orange that painted the chamber in hellish flickers, the air thickening with the acrid bite of ozone and charred flesh. Shift to Jackson's perspective, his grizzled frame braced against a jury-rigged turret, the barrel smoking from rapid fire as he clubbed a drone with the butt of his pistol, his scarred chest heaving under a faded jacket etched with the scars of too many schism runs, beard flecked with crystal dust trembling as he barked orders, his voice gruff as gravel under boot, carrying the weight of a smuggler who'd seen enclaves fall yet refused to break. Lena, barricade that secondary hatch. Stack those crates and wedge 'em tight, kid. Voss, that signal's our lifeline, not a death wish. Cover the flank or we're all echoes. Beside him, Mara, a young enclave tech no older than 19 with wide, resolute brown eyes framed by a messy tangle of ash blonde hair, her slender frame draped in a patched jumpsuit stained with engine grease. Threw her body over the relay, fingers trembling but firm as she shielded the golden pulse from a glancing lance, her voice a desperate chime cutting through the din. It's holding, Aria. Boosts live, but the jamming's spiking. If we lose this, my family's glassed world dies with us. Clara's hologram warped under the interference of Dravek's jammers, her scaled blue-green skin flickering like water over hot coals, bioluminescent tattoos pulsing erratically across her sharp angular features, piercing violet eyes narrowing to slits of pragmatic fury as data streams clashed with the viral corruption seeping from the net, her form-fitting rogue tech attire. Sleeveless vest with holographic projectors, cargo pants with gadget pouches, and lightweight boots, hovering in projection. Warp signatures Crozak, signals live, but they're tracing it like hounds on a scent. I've got a firewall up, Aria, but their priests are chanting your name. Move, or we're cinders before the fleet turns. The group fell back toward the hangar, the air thick with the crackle of overloaded circuits, and the wet crunch of chitin yielding to improvised fury. Aria vaulting over a fallen beam, her welder sweeping in a wide arc that bisected another elite mid-lunge, its halves twitching in futile spasms before going still, her low-cut tank top slick with sweat that traced defiant paths down her athletic frame, tight shorts shifting as she pivoted to shield Mara's retreat. Escape became the only play, the hangar's cavernous maw offering a slim chance as rogue pilots, scarred veterans in patched fighters, began to converge, their hulls scarred but glowing with the golden ping of Aria's signal, a patchwork fleet answering the call from the nebula's depths. Irony coiled thick in the smoke. Dravek's priests had tampered with the relay, believing it a divine artifact to bolster their purge, only to amplify humanity's desperate cry, their arrogance a mirror to the hubris that had glassed worlds, now turning their own tools against them. Aria's first-person aside broke through the chaos, her voice a conversational grit masking deeper fires. Exile forged me into this. Now it's forging us, one pulse at a time. Let's see if the void can handle what we've got left. The hangar sealed behind them with a groan of strained hydraulics, the air growing heavy with the electric tang of warp residue. The relay's golden light pulsing like a heartbeat refusing to still, pings multiplying as Enclave runners and trader halls join the fray, their comms crackling with the raw hope of survivors long abandoned. Sub-conflict ignited as Mara's hack faltered, the relay's interface sparking under the strain of Dravek's countermeasures, her wide eyes glazing with the phantom echo of her glassed family, patched jumpsuit whispering against the panel as she slammed a fist to stabilize the connection, her voice rising with the emotional weight of a promise kept. For my family, glassed by their prayers, I won't let this be their grave. Boost it, Aria, or we're done. Jackson flanked the relay, his gruff shots forcing a scout to recoil, pistol barking in tandem with the turret's dying groans, his skepticism cracking like the hull under fire, a personal edge surfacing from a lost run that cost him his first crew. Damn signal's a madman's gamble, but if it pulls those rogues, I'll eat my boots. Keep it screaming, Voss. My mates deserve this fire. Clara's grudge fueled her hacks from the ether, her hologram leaning in, as if to strike the enemy net herself, sharp angular features etched with the scars of a glassed horizon, violet eyes streaming code that clashed like swords in a duel of light. They took my light with their flames, priests preaching erasure while worlds burned. This signals their poison turned blade, Aria. Feed it your grit, and we'll carve their chance to silence. Technical details grounded the frenzy, Aria's probes interfacing deeper, rerouting warp capacitors with holster emitters that hummed in counterpoint to the relay's whine, metaphors vivid as the battle itself. The signal of firestorm brewing in the void. The Dravek's jammers a net of lies unraveling under human hands. Situational humor flickered brief amid the strain. Arya quipping to a glitching drone as it veered off course, its red eyes blinking in confusion. Nice dance, join our side or melt. Humans don't tip for bad choreography. The relay stabilized in fits, interfaces clarifying to reveal a network of lost fleets. Pre-schism dreadnoughts, trader convoys, enclave scouts, stirring from nebula graves, their signatures a constellation of defiance against the Dravex tide. But the virus surged anew, warping the hangar's reality with subtle cruelties, shadows looping in optical illusions that doubled back on themselves. Echoes of purged worlds assaulting the senses with phantom screams that clawed at resolve like dust devils. In the void above, action crested as the inner hatch groaned under breaching charges, Dravex elites pouring through in a tide of spiked armor and hissing zeal. Carapaced priests at their fore with lances wreathed in ritual plasma, their faceted eyes gleaming with fanatic certainty as they chanted in unison. Impure embers, extinguish the last stand before it consumes the divine weave. Aria's welder clashed against the first claw in a shower of sparks, the blue arc spinning in zero-G eddies stirred by the warp, her body twisting midair as she vaulted a lunging elite. Neon holsters deploying an EMP chaff that fried a cluster of drones in convulsing bursts, the air alive with the crackle of overloaded circuits and the wet snap of chitin yielding to fury. Jackson flanked her, pistol barking in tandem, his shots coring a priest's robe and sending the alien sprawling in a tangle of mandibles and ichor, while Mara's hands flew over the relay, boosting the signal to a deafening pulse that cut through the jamming haze, her wide eyes now narrowed in the birth of something fierce. We're the last stand they didn't see. Keep it live, Arya. This is for every world they took. Foreshadowing laced the relay's hum, a distant fleet signature growing stronger. Human, ancient, a whisper of hope amid the storm. As Arya hacked a breach pulse through the core, rallying the converging ships with a desperate burst that pierced the void, pings flickering like stars aligning in defiance. But sensors screamed anew, Krozak's flagship looming in the orbital feeds, its spiked silhouette eclipsing the nebula's wound. Warp drives thrumming with the promise of orbital fire that could glass the hangar to slag. The warlord's voice booming across intercepted comms, a guttural hiss laced with arrogant certainty. Your fire dies here. Your last stand is but a flicker. Purity purges all, and your signal ends in silence. Open loop tightened as Arya sealed the hack, the relay's pulse igniting a firestorm wave that rippled outward, a golden blaze threading through the storm. But the Dravex barrage hit with devastating force, the hangar's roof collapsing in a roar of twisted metal and flame. Outpost sections exploding in a chain reaction that lit the void like a supernova's birth. Aria's shuttle launched into the chaos, the Starfire's engines roaring to life amid the destruction, comms dead as debris rained, Jackson and Mara clinging to the hull, Clyra's hologram fading under the interference. Will the fleets arrive, or will the firestorm consume its own spark? The cliffhanger hung in the void, the nebula's wound swallowing the scene in a blaze of uncertainty. The void erupted in a blaze of golden fury, as Aria's firestorm wave sliced through the Dravex jamming haze, a relentless pulse that ignited the nebula's crimson depths. Rogue fleets converging like moths to a defiant flame. Enclave runners with hulls patched in crystal shards ramming Dravex frigates with kinetic force, their impacts reverberating like thunderclaps across the void. Trader halls unleashing salvaged pre-schism warheads that pierced shields in cascading detonations, lighting the dark. With malevolent pearls, while Cryon's miners fired temporal missiles that froze elite squadrons in stasis loops, their spiked forms suspended like grotesque statues for human gunners to shatter with precision lasers cobbled from mining rigs. The air, nay, the fabric of space, crackling with the raw power of a species refusing extinction. Shift to Warlord Krozak's perspective aboard his flagship, the monolithic bastion trembling under the assault, its ritual spikes fracturing like brittle idols, his carapaced form towering in the command bay, mandibles twitching with the first crack of doubt as holographic feeds bloomed with the chaos of human defiance. Priests at his flanks hissing panic chants, their ornate robes swirling like shadows of a faltering doctrine. Impure rabble defies the weave, redirect lances, summon all elites. This last stand ends now, he roared, his guttural voice effading him, faceted eyes widening as the irony bit deep. The Dravex who had dismissed humanity as faded embers now faced their own purity turned to ash, their warp fields twisting inward under Solace's human-rooted hacks. Arya coordinated from the Starfire's cockpit, her shuttle a speck of defiance amid the maelstrom, fierce green eyes blazing through the viewport as debris fields bloomed with explosions, her flowing dark hair plastered to her sweat-slicked neck, low-cut tank top and tight shorts clinging like second skin in the humid press, neon holsters humming as she patched directives across the net. Rams to flanks, shards to cores, ignite their doubts with every shot. With a last stand they counter-race. Her voice cut through the static with conversational grit, fingers dancing over consoles to amplify the signal, metaphors vivid in her mind. The fleet ablaze devouring shadows, the nebula a wound cauterized by human will. Battle diversity exploded in unscripted brilliance. A rogue pilot, his fighter's hull scarred from nebula runs, slingshot into a Dravex cruiser's ventral array, the impact crumpling spiked plating and buying seconds for an enclave volley to split the enemy in half, explosions painting the void in vibrant hues. Jackson, commandeering a salvaged runner, led a flanking push, his grizzled face alight with vengeance for a lost crew, turret barking plasma in sweeping arcs, gruff voice crackling. "For my mates, your signal turned dust to dynamite, Voss. Let's burn 'em down." Mara fought beside him, her shard launcher hurling temporal grenades, wide eyes narrowed to a warrior's focus, her patched jumpsuit whispering resolve. From glassed homes to this, your spark didn't just call help, it called the fight we were starving for, Voss. For my family's ashes, hold the line. Clara's hacks amplified the chaos from her relay, Solace turning Dravex jammers inward, her bioluminescent tattoos flaring like solar bursts, sharp angular features tense with retribution, violet eyes streaming code. Their nets unravel. Purity's their noose now, Arya, my glassed world avenged in this fire. The moral crucible flared as Arya threaded a rift, Solace's warp echoes tempting surrender. Let the rogues burn to spare the core. But defiance roared back, her voice steady against the viewport's blaze. We don't kneel to shadows. Humans rewrite the stars. Amplify it all. Let the firestorm devour their doubts. Repetition wove through the net. Last stand ignites. Echoing from Jackson to Mora, Clara to the swelling ranks, as fleets united. Trader rams cleared paths. Enclave shards chained with Thorn's dreadnought thundering in. The Admiral's gravel voice rumbling. His lined face framed by a grey beard flickering on Arya's feed. Scarred overcoat billowing. Ghosts to Inferno, Voss. Your signal reborn us. We broadside their heart with warps turned weapons. Phase shift broadsides phased through armor. Dravex hulls imploding in purity loops. The void blooming with shattered hymns. Climax crested at Krozak's flagship, its spires reeling under the assault. Area's Starfire docking amid venting corridors. Elites hissing as they lunged with plasma-laced lances. Arya moved like liquid fire. Welder flashing in zero-G spins that left trails of molten claw and chitin. Neon holsters deploying EMP chaff that fried cloaks and drones alike. Her body twisting mid-leap to evade a sweeping mandible. Dark hair a halo around her snarling face. An elite charged from the shadows, its spiked arm whirring toward her throat. But she spun low, Welder arcing up to shear the limb in a spray of ichor, the alien screeching as it staggered. "Your gods falter faster than your fleet, Bug. Pray harder," she quipped, boots kicking off a bulkhead to launch at the next, plasma beam coring its thorax in a burst of superheated gas. Jackson and Mara breached an airlock, his pistol cracking, her grenades freezing squads for Thorn's borders to shatter. Clara's symphony peaked, Solace unraveling the Armada's cohesion, Priest's chants fracturing into screams. Krozak cornered Arya in the command chamber, runes glowing, his towering form looming, mandibles flaring. "Frail embers fade. Your last stand crumbles," he boomed. But Arya stepped closer, Welder scorching a rune, Solace's hack imploding shields, irony peaking as purity purged itself. "Your gods pray louder than they fight, Krozak. Humanity's fire outlasts your weave," she said, the chamber trembling as broadsides hammered, elites routed. The warlord's claw lowered, retreat broadcast in a hiss, Armada limping into the nebula, spiked silhouettes fading. With the flagship secured, Arya broadcast from the core, her voice a galactic call. "Humans, enclaves, rogues, fleets, the Empire struck our shadows, but we ignited a firestorm. The last stand holds, forged in grit, not lies, rise and claim the stars." Pings flooded. Enclaves cheered in caverns, rogues hooped, Thorn's salvo lit the void. Unity sealed in pacts. On a reclaimed station, survivors gathered, crystal-lit halls thrumming, Jackson clasping her hand. "From ash to this, your signals are inferno," Mara raising a shard. "Last stands ours now, for my family's light," Clara nodding, blazed together. Arya on a viewport, green eyes fierce, stars ours, grinning. Emotional beats lingered. Exile's scars healed, lost crews avenged, resolve forged. Solace whispered, greater shadows stir, teasing threats. Humanity's blaze, unquenchable, echoed in the wind, the firestorm a promise of wars to come.